Fred Hampton was only 20 years old when the FBI unfortunately killed him in a raid that led to disbelief and outrage.
What made him so influential, though, and who was he? This documentary utilizes historical voices and contemporary perspectives from movements to examine Fred Hampton's life, legacy, and lasting influence.
Fred Hampton was born in Illinois in 1948 and rose to fame as the leader of the Black Panther Party's Illinois chapter. Hampton, a brilliant speaker and organizer, was instrumental in forming the Rainbow Coalition, which brought together working class militants from Black, Latino, and white backgrounds. His objectives included providing free breakfast for children, establishing community medical clinics, and fostering revolutionary solidarity.
Fred Hampton was murdered in his bed on December 4th, 1964, during a Chicago police and FBI raid. It was later discovered that an undercover spy infiltrated the Panthers and gave a comprehensive blueprint. Many classified the incident as an assassination, and there was demonstrations and inquiries at the national level.
In today's time, Fred Hampton's legacy lives on in efforts for police accountability, racial fairness, and community empowerment. His life served as an inspiration for artwork, a film, a Chicago mural, his representation in Judas and the Black Messiah, and many other works. Today's activists see his legacy as that of a visionary whose efforts continue to galvanize opposition.
Hampton said, "You can jail a revolutionary, but you can't jail the revolution." That really rings true in our current battles for justice. His ideal of unification and self-sufficiency lives on the hearts of people who believe in grassroots reconstruction.
Fred Hampton's death was tragic, but his life, beliefs, and legacy are more important than ever.
As communities across the United States and around the world continue to organize protests and demand justice and face systemic racism, police brutality, and economic inequality, Fred Hampton's visions of a unified front against oppression remains as powerful and urgent as ever. His dream of solidarity across racial and class lines has embodied in the original Rainbow Coalition and continues to inspire grassroots movements that prioritize mutual aid, community empowerment, and intersectional unity. With all being said, Hampton's legacy has transcended time, evolving from a revolutionary idea into a living and breathing movement for change. This historical materialism article is written in the context of ongoing interest in revolutionary Black figures like Fred Hampton himself. This is a wake-up call or like a document towards people in the 2020 protests or furthermore events that are happening now, and it brings attention to racism things and the state of violence that we are living in now. The intended audience is to activists. It's supposed to appeal them, and it politically engages readers into looking for racial perspectives on history. And the purpose of this is to provide a revolutionary leftist interpretation of Fred Hampton's life and legacy and how he lived. It frames his activism through a class of anti-imperialist lens, which is showing like his political thought and his structural critique. The point of view of the article adopts a sympathetic and radical viewpoint. So it sees Hampton as a heroic revolutionary and critiques the capitalist and state systems that opposed him. And the outside information outside of this is historical materialism is known as a socialist publication. Its framing reflects political theory rooted in the Marxist traditions. This shapes how the article interprets Hampton's politics and legacy, more radical and systemic than neutral or centrist sources. We chose this source because it is very critical. It offers a lot of depth analysis of Fred Hampton's political philosophy and activism from socialist perspective. It helps us understand how revolutionary thinkers and leftist communities remember Hampton in a different manner or way, and also why his legacy is still relevant in today's struggles in societies against capitalism and systemic oppression. For our second source in the stages of Hippo, we chose a source from Britannica, and this is a general reference article which is written as a part of like an Endocypedia instead of like a summary key, and it is likely updated and often added a lot more like information on it. And the intended audience in this is like the general public, students, researchers looking for factual and concise biographical information about a necessary person in particular. And the purpose of this is to inform readers about the basic facts of Fred Hampton's life, activism, and death, and how he died and stuff. And the point of view of this is the tone is objective and encyclopedic, while it acknowledges the controversy around his death and the FBI involvement, and avoids emotionally charged language or deep ideological framing. And then outside information, Britannica is a trusted mainstream academic resource. It doesn't take sides or delve deeply into leftist political theory, making it useful or factual grounding, but less interpretive. We chose this article on Fred Hampton because it provided reliable, fact-based, and neutral overview of his life. There was no biases within this website or webpage. The events surrounding his death was a wide topic throughout this article as well, and is a widely trusted and authoritative source. It helps ensure that our document is grounded in accurate historical facts and allows us to present Hampton's story in a way that is accessible to a broad audience, while it maintains a scholarly rigor. Adding on to that, the article offers a balanced approach to the controversy surrounding his death, acknowledging the FBI's involvement without adopting an overly ideological stance, which also leads into the more subjective and activist-driven sources we have chosen. This makes it a valuable resource for providing context and grounding our research in a widely accepted historical facts.
Lastly, for our third and final source, we chose Stanford Say Their Names exhibit from Stanford University's library. This source has a high level of credibility due to its purpose, which is both educational and commemorative. It seeks to honor Black individuals killed by police or state violence and connect their stories across generations. Including Fred Hampton's story helps illustrate how racial injustice is not new, but part of a continuous pattern. It's also very credible due to its point of view. It takes a critical, activist-driven point of view, does not present a neutral or detached historical narrative, but deliberately centers the lives and humanity of Black people lost to state violence, treating them as victims of systemic oppression rather than isolated incidents. Also, we chose this source because it directly addresses Fred Hampton's legacy from a modern community-based perspective. Unlike academic or purely biographical sources, this exhibit shows how Hampton is remembered today, especially by those still fighting the same battles. It aligns perfectly with our research question: what is Hampton's legacy today, and how do the Black community and other groups remember his life and death? It connects history to the present, making it a powerful and relevant primary source for our documentary.